Hey, and welcome back to my channel. Welcome if you are new. If you are new, my name is Autumn and I homeschool my two girls. My oldest is in second grade and my youngest is doing kindergarten work. And I wanted this video to be a really quick check-in about curriculum that we have finished so far this school year. So the two things that we have finished so far this school year are Pinwheels, which I have mentioned before, but now that we are done, I figured I would talk a little bit more about it. And then the other curriculum that we finished, which actually kind of surprises me, is we are done mystery science. Now, that is something I've also mentioned that we ended up adding in a whole unit that I hadn't originally planned for, but here we are done. And I had printed out this schedule of how I expected things to go. And we started the year not going through Pinwheels as quickly as I thought we would. So we did finish that one later than I had originally planned, but we have definitely finished mystery science 3 weeks, almost 4 weeks sooner than I thought. And again, we added in another unit. And so I'm going to talk about Pinwheels first, and then I'll get into mystery science. I do have a video review of Pinwheels. Now, that was prior to us actually finishing the curriculum, but we'd been pretty far at that point. And so I think that it is a perfectly comprehensive review. We really enjoyed it. I really think it was really great to have a full language arts curriculum. We were doing Explode the Code for a while with it, and what I was finding was my daughter was doing really great with reading the words and writing the words and kind of like doing all of that. But when it came to the actual rules and remembering the spelling, that kind of stuff, I had to stop on Explode the Code because I really needed her to learn that stuff better in Pinwheels. And that is what I really appreciate about it. Reading is one thing, spelling is a different thing. So you can be fluently reading words, but then going to go spell that same word and have a very difficult time. So I really liked that everything was all together with Pinwheels, the grammar, the writing, the spelling, the phonics, all of it was all together. And that was really helpful, I think, also for my daughter to really like see the words, spell the words, learn the morphology behind some of these words. I think it just really helped her with the way she is as a learner. And I think that it really helped me as well because I was learning so much more about how to teach. And I have done this before. I've had professional trainings. I was teaching in the classroom, and I have continuing education classes that I am taking, but this still also really taught me a lot. So I do think Pinwheels is really great, whether you are an experienced teacher or everything phonics is completely new to you. I think it's a really awesome curriculum to use and just has so much to offer. With that said, it's also a lot. Like there are a lot of pieces to it. So it could definitely feel overwhelming. I feel we did year one and we did year two. And by year two, it was a breeze for me. Now I was learning and going and adapting and everything during year one of Pinwheels. But by year two, it was very simple. We both knew the rhythm. It was going really well. And that is why I am using Pinwheels again with my youngest, even though I am very disappointed that there's not going to be a Pinwheels year 3. And I would recommend the curriculum to other people even without that. But at the same time, I'm going to just see how it's continuing to go with my youngest. We have already purchased all of these things, so it does make sense to use them. But there might be something else that I do decide to explore later down the road, just knowing that I don't have the option for a year 3 of this program. And I feel like my neighbors wrapped up the tree trimming at their house, and now I have another set of neighbors that are having lawn work. So hopefully you can't hear any of this craziness that is going on around me. So since we have finished Pinwheels year 2, and again, I am doing Pinwheels year 1 with my youngest, but since Alani and I have finished year 2, we have moved into Wand, and she has really been doing really well with that. She actually is loving the reading. She is loving reading like real books, not just readers. That is something that she is truly enjoying. And we had the readers through Pinwheels, and we also have the dash books that I've been using, but nothing beats just a real book. She's having a lot more fun with that. She's not giving as much pushback with her reading. So I really do think that next year when we do something, I am going to really make sure that it is literature based. I have a whole list of all of these different things that I am looking into, and all of them are like based on real books, like novel study type things, learning from the books, literature guides, and all of that kind of stuff. And so That's the kind of stuff that it seems she really enjoys. And that is the kind of stuff that, I mean, it's only been a few weeks, but that is the kind of stuff she seems to enjoy. So I do think that is what we are going to be doing moving forward. And I do also have a walkthrough of Wand on my channel if you want to check that out. I think it is a very like beginner friendly version of using a book to learn all of the grammar, spelling, all of that kind of stuff. I think that if you're familiar with Brave Writer, it's very much like that because Brave Writer really came out of this program, but I've never used Brave Writer. My only thought is this seems to possibly be a little simpler because when I look at Brave Writer, I have a hard time conceptualizing what it's truly about. But that's only my opinion based on knowing what Wand is and not knowing too much about Brave Writer. So yes, we have finished Pinwheels. I would recommend it, and we're already doing Wand, so that is our next step now that we are not doing it. All right, so Mystery Science, I, again, was surprised that we are done as soon as we are, but honestly, there were days we were doing 2 lessons in a day. And the way that it's broken up, like if you're looking at their pacing guide takes things really slow. And with just 2 girls, sometimes just 1, because it's really only meant for Alani's age. So sometimes some of the things are just a little harder for Emmy. But there are just times that we are able to blow through those lessons with it just being us. And so there are times that we did more than a lesson in a day, and that was because my girls wanted to. They loved Mystery Science. Alani is begging to do 3rd grade. Like, she's like, can we just start the next one? Can we go on? And I have no problem with doing their mini lessons. Like, that is something that's really cool. They've got like 5-minute mini lessons that are really awesome, and it can keep us going with Mystery Science. But I don't want to start the next year because the thing that I'm doing this year is I did for the first half of the year science, and then starting in the second half of the year, we're going to be doing our history and geography. So we're doing core knowledge for history and geography. I have it all planned out, and I really didn't want to be doing history, geography, and science. It just was going to make our days too long. It just was going to be too much. So I do want to scratch that itch with being able to do the mini lessons. But even though she wants to go on to the 3rd grade, I don't think we're going to be able to make it work. We'll see. Once we start core knowledge, history, and geography, maybe there's some room, or maybe there'll be like a day we can take off and we can be doing some of the lessons. I don't know. But I really need to start that before I know what our time looks like, because that's going to be a big change in our normal schedule. But for now, I do have 3 weeks that we don't have science where I had planned for us to have it. And so honestly, it kind of just works out that we keep that space empty because we've got our Thanksgiving study that we're doing. And then after that, we will start some sort of Christmas study. So it really is good to just have that time open. It allows us to squeeze in the other things that we want to do, or even just have some shorter days here and there, which is really nice going into the holiday season. But if you can't tell by my daughter wanting to roll into the next year, or if you haven't seen my previous videos, I would recommend Mystery Science. If you are looking for like really big projects and experiments, this is not the science for that. This is very easy, very basic activities that are things around the house, generally easy to put together. And that's why I really like it. That's why it worked for us, because I didn't end up skipping things because it was just too much to put together. It was easy for us to do all of the activities and the experiments. And the fact that it was online, the fact that the videos walked my girls through things, meant that I didn't have to source all of these extra videos for us to be watching. Now, the only thing that I would just love to see more of in this curriculum is book recommendations. And maybe that is something that I've missed, but I did not find a lot of book lists or recommendations when it came to the different lessons. And that is something that I've kind of had to find on my own. I mean, we have a ton of resource books, and so it's not really hard, but it'd be really cool to have like picture book recommendations or anything like that. If you are aware of them and I just missed them, let me know in the comments, because I think that would be really great for anyone else to have. But we are done and I didn't find them. So that is something that I would love to be able to enjoy but not source moving forward. But that's really my only thing that I had that I didn't love about it. I would still recommend Mystery Science. I think we're gonna do it next year. I can't make any decision about that right now, but my daughter really wants to so far. So, I mean, that is in the lead for the curriculum that we will be using for science next year. But so far, those are the two things that we have finished this year: Pinwheels and Mystery Science, and both things we've loved and I would highly recommend. If you have any questions about either, make sure to check out my previous videos, but also feel free to ask me any questions in the comments. As always, thank you so much for your support on my channel, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.